Welcome everyone to Gem Collectors with Shawn. And there may be some of you out there that may not be as familiar with me as so many of you others. We are broadcasting now. You can find this podcast on YouTube as opposed to where it was always on gemshopping.com. Now, this is a family friendly oriented rock group, we call it. And also an excellent opportunity not only to learn, but to buy the items that you learn about. And it's done in a way that you have never seen before. Lots of education, lots of information given on the items that are for sale. And you can also then go back and view past episodes for available inventory as well. Now, for those of you that have been watching this show on Gem Shopping for over 4 years already, kind of know the drill. But for those of you that are just finding this show, well, go to Gem Shopping to ask Shawn. You'll see my section that you'll be able to fill out the comments that we're going to get ready to read here in a minute that other people have already sent in. Comments, questions, and the answers to the weekly trivia gift. The trivia questions are given at the end of the show, and they usually pertain to items or information offered during the time that the podcast is featured. Now, I only answer the comments at the next show and answer the questions to your, or answer the trivia and give the answers on the next show. So you won't hear anything in between, but you certainly will from show to show. We create a show each week, and I'm telling you what, I'm real excited about getting the opportunity to open up this show to the YouTube world, so to speak. I have been doing internet shows or live TV shows associated here with Gem Shopping for close to 15 years now. So I am not a new face to this market whatsoever. And a little background on myself, I got into rock hunting and taking gem cutting lessons at the age of 11 in Sarasota, Florida, from a jewelry store out on St. Armand's Circle at the age of 11. I went through a series of stone cutting lessons and then got into silversmithing at 15, goldsmithing at 17, and prospecting throughout that period of time on my uncle's farm up in Franklin, outside of Franklin, North Carolina. Between the combination of my passion for not only the metalsmithing side, but the side where I wanted to, my goal, I guess, when I was a little boy was to find a gem, having learned how to cut the gem, then be able to take metal and create a object of art or a piece of jewelry from that metal. Now, the ultimate goal was to also pan and find enough gold for that metal project. But that never happened, even though I am actively prospecting now. I have an amazing excavator, and I am well familiar with having been in over 40 different mines just here in Georgia and about 100 others across the United States, many of them focused in North Carolina and out in Colorado where I lived as well. So it has been a lifelong passion of mine to not only learn as much as I can, but to get my hands involved in it from the ground level up. And while you're going to Gem Shopping to be able to fill out those comments, you're also going to be able to have a choice of about 30 different episodes of how it's done. And it is a series that we produced here at Gem Shopping that takes you through every level of goldsmithing that you can think of, from sizing a ring to a very difficult flush setting to how a lost wax ring is carved. We actually show, I do all the work myself. You get to see it all. It is in very well edited segments. It is something that basically, by the time you get through seeing and taking in those episodes, you should actually get some type of certificate of a certification of achieving a level of knowledge that most people won't have just from those episodes. We cover what would be required for a piece of jewelry to be legally through the Federal Trade Commission standards as being handmade. That's when I show you how and do it all, hand creating a rose gold opal pendant. So much more content is there for you to view as well. But we're going to get started here, and as each week goes by, you'll know better and better how things work and how you can order and buy anything that you see. If it has an item number, will be by using that telephone number you see on your screen, and also to access me as well. It's just Gem Shopping /Ask Shawn, or you can contact me directly by going to Shawn@gemshopping.com. Simple as that. And so let's get started on the comments and answers to the trivia question from last week. So first, let me read the questions. For those of you that missed the show, remember, you can go back and see the show, and any items that haven't already sold. We're a 24/7 network here that has been here for 25 plus years, and I don't call them operators. They're far beyond that. Your very educated sales assistants will be able to take your order any time of day, and they'll be able to tell you if the item that you see is available or if it has been sold. Now, remember, I want to say this. A lot of items are one of a kind and they sell quickly. So it's not one of those situations where, well, I'll wait a few days and see, because oftentimes if it's a neat looking item to you, it probably is to someone else as well. So just want to give you a little hint there. The clients that have already been with me, the family members, I should say, for a long time, they already have commented. It's like, oh no, we are so glad that you are going to be on YouTube now, except just more competition for them. But since we're all one community, the rock and mineral and gemstone loving community, we don't mind if someone else gets something cool, as long as the hobby is perpetuated and continued throughout. And as our family of rockhounds expands, that's the way it's supposed to go, right? Okay, so the questions from last week were, we actually showed a rare, well, and a few years back, it was one in the top 10 rarest new gemstones that was discovered in Pakistan. Prior to that, there had been no real cutting material available, but then as there were many other rare mineral deposits discovered, bastnasite was one of them. And so I featured a bastnasite, and the question was, the rare earth mineral bastnasite is, and for the first time I did a multiple choice. A silicate, B, an oxide, C, a carbonate, or D, a sulfide, like in sphalerite. A carbonate would have been like in calcite. An oxide would have been as in corundum or ruby and sapphire. That's aluminum oxide. And a silicate, an example of one, is beryl or quartz, of course. So answer what is so unusual about bastnasite, it is a carbonate. It is a rare earth mineral carbonate, and that you just do not see. There's just not that many of them. And then the second question is, what is the best known emerald mine in the USA? Now, of course, that could be up for discussion, but there's a best known emerald mine more in the commercial, advertised department, or there's the best known emerald mine kind of overall that people are familiar with and that has produced some amazing emeralds. That would be the Crabtree Mine. So the Crabtree Mine was the answer we were looking for. It's most of the North Carolina emerald specimens that I have featured have been Spruce Pine District emeralds, emeralds or emeralds specimens that I know to be from the Crabtree Mine. Just to mention another mine, so because there was a little bit of people saying that the Emerald Hollow Mine might see it otherwise, which may be true. They're just a well-advertised emerald mine. And the other mine, though, I do want to mention that has, of course, some amazing emeralds have come from there, but it's a lesser known one, is the Wrist Mine. The Wrist Mine. And boy, I tell you what, if there was one in the eastern United States, one district I would love to live in and even own an old pegmatite mine. It could be an extinct mine. It wouldn't matter. It would be up in the Spruce Pine area. But in looking at other mines, when I was pulling up information on the Jones Mine, which I'm going to feature a specimen from the Jones Mine, which is a known to produce zircons and feldspars. It actually was south of Asheville, in an area that you wouldn't quite think of as having as many pegmatites and whatnot. But when I really zoomed in the area, there were a lot of mines in that area. So Georgia was known for its gold mines and quartz mines. Remember, some fine quartz has come from Middle Georgia. North Carolina is known for its pegmatite mines. Pegmatite being a deposit that is a mica, feldspar, quartz combination of those minerals. If they're found together, then there's a good chance you can find other more precious variety of minerals and a wider variety of minerals. If those are found together, meaning that there's a lot of mineralization and a lot of elements available to create other species. So, okay, those were the questions and answers. Let's go to the comments. All right, now here we have it. Starting off, Karen from South Carolina. And for those of you new to this is as easy as it is. You just type in Ask Shawn or go to Shawn at gemshopping.com, and there you go. Now, just remember that your comments will only be answered at the point of the next show. And the cutoff time for me to be able to, because of course the show is recorded days earlier, so the cutoff time would be the day before the show airs. So just to let you know, and to keep up with that, the best thing to do is to subscribe to this show, and that way you're notified of all everything going on with it and the exact time of when the next show will, or close enough to the next show when it will post. All right, so let's go. Karen in South Carolina. I have not written you in quite a while, even though I have certainly continued to watch. This show, you featured many very lovely pieces, but the one that grabbed my attention was the Sphalerite, and I have to agree with you, the Sphalerite. And if any of you missed last week's show, it is worth going back just to see the Sphalerite. You say, well, what's the big deal about the Sphalerite? This Sphalerite, it is a greenish yellow. There is not only just the common opaque, beautifully though, well crystallized, charcoal gray sphalerite crystals. But just side by side, you have the precious crystals of the blue-green color, which is unusual enough in sphalerite as opposed to the orange color. So you have that really bright, unusual, not blue-green color, I mean chartreuse yellow color, which is real unusual, yellowish green chartreuse color. And some are very close to facet grade and probably would be. So it's worth it just to watch me backlight them with a flashlight. And these are not small crystals. They were quite a large size. And the specimen is cabinet quality size and really stunning. So one of our favorites. And remember, for those of you that haven't seen or know much about myself, is so many of these specimens now are coming from a personal collection from Raven and I that between the two of us is approaching 100 years worth of collecting. So you can find all kinds of things going back a long period of time. So Karen says, I've not written you in quite a while, even though I have certainly continued to watch. The show you featured many lovely pieces, but the one that grabbed my attention was the Sphalerite. Way above my budget, but beautiful and so tempting. Trivia, she gets the carbonate right and the Crabtree mine right. And then she though says, although the folks at Emerald Hollow would take exception to that. Exactly. Then we have Miss Cindy in South Central Pennsylvania. Hello, Rock Family. Shawn, your dad should be post-procedure by now. I hope it went well for him. And yes, my 90-year-old father's pacemaker implant did go well, and he has recovered nicely, and he came home the same day. So thank you for asking. Great show this week. I got the mixed parcel with the bastnasite, the androdite garnet, etc. I am so excited to get them. Trivia, you got the trivia answers right. The carbonate and the Crabtree mine. Until next week, all, be safe, be healthy. Cindy in South Central Pennsylvania. Happy to be off today, even though I have to run into work for a short meeting in a bit. We have Miss Sue in Texas. She gets the answers right in the trivia. She opts out, though, as being part of the drawing for the winner because she just won the other week. And even though you don't have to, some people choose to do that. Note, thank you for the beautiful malachite box. That's what she won last week. Have a small collection of, see, look at how perfect things end up where they belong so many times. So she won a malachite box, a really neat, small, unusual one. Thank you for the beautiful malachite box. I have a small collection of malachite boxes in different shapes, heart, hexagon, medium, hinged, rectangle, and this one will be an amazing addition to the grouping I have. Also, thank you for showing Raven's gorgeous spectralite pendant. Of course, spectralite being a high-end variety of labradorite from Finland. Always a pleasure to see gems that display varying color patterns. Blessings to all in our rock group. Miss Sue in Texas, thank you. Next, we have another Sue, well, a Susan in New Mexico. And haven't heard from her in a while, but it's good to hear from her now. The trivia, she gets the bastnasite, the carbonate family, the emerald mine. Yep, got that correct, the Crabtree mine. And then she comments, my ship didn't come in, but I find myself with a few dollars to invest or play with. I bought the last 2 salt lamps last week and the 2 fulgurite specimens that were a little longer than the majority, but not as long as those priced a little higher. A couple of other items that I wanted were already sold, and that does happen. Long ago, you mentioned a book for us relative newbies. Maybe I have the name of it. Susan, may I have the name of it? I'll get it right. I actually thought I'd only carry that book with me, and I will check to make sure that I am correct in the name, but I think it's Gemstones of the World. It is absolutely the best pictorial and informational book in one compact unit without getting too scientific about everything. really very educational. So I'll actually bring it in and show the cover of it next week. Okay, now to call before all the items I picked from today's show are gone. Thanks. See ya. All right. Mr. Anthony in Massachusetts says, hello all, great show, trivia. He gets the bastnasite part right. He actually even got the fluorocarbonate part right, because that's what he had in his notes. So you can take notes, and I encourage note taking, of course, for the trivia. That is no problem. Of course, we discourage going back and rewinding to look up the answers. We want you, part of the trivia is part of the learning process, to listen to the show close enough that you retain the items of knowledge that you hear through the show. And then the reward for that is getting the trivia right. And there's people in here that, because I've notated, we notate them, because we have to, of course, get them shipped to you. And also I wanted to say, those who do win the trivia, the shipping takes longer than, it takes a different path. So don't expect it to come as quickly as if you bought something. That takes another path, but you get it in usually anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. So expect that. So the use of the trivia is to encourage you to retain the knowledge that you hear. And there has been people that have won 20, 25 times or more over the course of the last 4 years. So it's not something, and everybody that has played has won at one point or another. So it's not something that you never win. And the prizes are often, can create trivia envy, and are often one of a kind as well. Okay, so Mr. Anthony goes on to say, he goes, one of the best known emerald mines in North America, the Crabtree Mine. Congrats on your show going to YouTube. I always wondered why it hadn't been on long ago. I've been meaning for the past few weeks on asking about Ametrine. Crystallography in that is the line, meaning straight or one fading into the other, between citrine and amethyst. Is one more valuable than the other when pertaining to cut gemstones, and is straight line natural? You mentioned Raven is an Edgar Allan Poe fan. I'm a fan of Poe as well. Just picked up the latest biography, The Reason for the Darkness of Night by John Tresh. I didn't know Poe had an obsession with science. Eyes down. Yeah, it's not often portrayed like that. That would be an interesting biography to read. Raven's been by his row house, and it's not much. And of course, he died well, like so many, starving artists. Yeah, even though he had fame during his lifetime. Anyway, we'll get back to your question regarding Ametrine. Now, when you say Ametrine, the line going across the middle and the direction of it is all dependent on the cutter. I'm actually featuring an Ametrine slice, and we'll talk about your answer at that point. It is follows the hexagonal crystal system, but the best way I can maybe describe it is similar to a trapeche emerald, where you have the carbon line inclusions following the crystallographic divisions. That occurs in Ametrine as well, but the difference in color is a much more difficult to explain, because it has to do, the latest theory is with a potassium 40 radiation, and how it affects the particular ionic state of the impurities in Ametrine at the time. So that's a very simple version of a very complicated answer as to how Ametrine occurs. Now, when you say one more valuable than the other, to me, Ametrine, of course, true Ametrine is more valuable than one or the other by itself. And here's my main point on, especially on the citrine name. When you have an ametrine, the citrine part of that ametrine, is genuine color citrine. So much citrine in today's market is not natural color. Just like the big citrine cathedrals, they call them, or geodes that you may see offered, they are heat-treated amethyst geodes. The citrine that you see being cut, it is a heat-treated amethyst product. Just like the green quartz, Zeolite, that is another treatment process that gives you that color. Natural green Zeolite isn't really something you see in nature. So for me to know I have the natural color citrine part, even if it's just half of an ametrine, I like that. But it is buyer beware. There is so much treated ametrine in the market, not only from the quartz to start with, but from the colors. If the purple color looks too rich and the price seems too cheap, I went and I did some research on the internet just to see what they were offering in ametrine. And the colors that they depict, and then the actual color of the item, for one thing, you have to watch for that. I noticed greatly varied. So there was that part. Then they were offering all these different lots with different prices. And you were supposed to get the lot picture. Well, the picture of the lot was the exact same picture of the same stones. They were just spun and turned around a little bit, but someone with an eye for knowing what to look for in crystals, it was just a gimmick. And all I can say is, you probably got the weight that whatever they were selling you, but they were not going to all be these same pieces. So that was a misnomer. Then the other thing was, I saw a lot of other sites had to put earth mined or mined from the ground. These other statements to differentiate their product, obviously or apparently, from the other buyer beware part that I saw was natural amethyst or natural quartz or whatever. Well, yes, chemically, it can be exactly natural as Mother Nature's. And so you could get away with that part and say natural, but is it naturally grown or naturally mined from the earth? And that's why these other distinctions have to be put in there. So therefore, for these people selling genuine product, they have all these other distinctions to separate their product from the obvious ones whose product is not what they are saying it is. It is reading between the lines. It's semantics. It is absolutely, I told you that story, and one day I'll tell it again about my galena geodes. If I can be fooled myself after looking at those geodes to be fake, and bringing back all that weight from Morocco, and then finding them out to be nothing but Elmer glued in galena inside chalcedony geodes, then anybody can be fooled. And I'll bring the geodes and show you again. Again, it's a great story. It's a great story. It'll be one of our show and tell. I tell that story on myself and embarrass myself every time I do it, only because I want to save the next person from doing what I did. So it is truly a situation that everything is not how you may see it or deem it or the way it seems. You look at it, wow, that seems awful much, way cheaper, way less expensive than, some other product. Well, there's usually a reason why. And I have debunked many of those in a simple matter of spending about 30 minutes on the internet and say, okay, I see the reason here. And when it comes to the Ametrine, that is an area that leaves a lot of room for tomfoolery, because they can irradiate one end of it and not the other. They can do amazing things with quartz in devious ways. Okay, so I don't know if that answered all your questions about amethyst and citrine, but if you are cutting an ametrine and you're cutting it from natural material, it is considered more desirable because the market deems it more desirable to have the line as close to a 50-50 split between the citrine and amethyst side and oriented as much as straight across as you can get it, and as sharp of a color demarcation from one color to the next. And yes, they can blend from one color into the other. That is natural, but it does make it less valuable than if it is a sharp color contrasting color difference that's natural. So, all right, little Ametrine information there from one cutter to another. We have Miss Gabby. Hi, Rock family. Well. Guess we are moving on up. Not sure if I'm bold enough to have my comments on the YouTube, but here it goes. I'm testing the waters and going to be brief. My trivia answers is C and Crabtree Mine. Close enough. The latest Skeletal also arrived with nominal crumbs. Thank you again, shipping. Checked my other specimens and I didn't notice any Lomantite on the small one, but the larger one had a couple areas with what may be some small crystals. You and Brad were cracking me up again. Brad, I knew you were bringing a lot to the chat, so glad you broke your silence. Question, I like to take my gems and you know what? Okay, this is raving all over the place. This is raving all over. Question, I like to take my gems and specimens on a walk when I get them home. I take them outside different times of the day, from room to room in the house, with varying amounts and types of lighting to observe any color variations. This actually happens more often than one might expect. Have never really done that with my opaque items, however, and have been wondering lately if they too can be affected by metamerism. Well, I can tell you this, is Raven doesn't know anything about metamerisms, but she will take her minerals and specimens, and I'll be looking at one. She goes, can I hold this, take this? And she will hold it. She'll put it in her pocket. She'll carry it around for the day. And she does this all the time. She selects a mineral for, and it's not necessarily that she looks up any metaphysical properties of it and then chooses the mineral. The mineral chooses her. It is the specimen she will reaches out to her, and she will just, actually she puts it up close to her heart and she cups it and she says, this one's speaking to me. I think I'll carry it in my pocket for the day. Or she'll, if it's one not to put in your pocket, she'll put it by the kitchen sink where, you know, she sees it often a day or a big part of her day, and make it part of her day. And she does that all the time, as she does and picks her jewelry as well. And it really speaks, they speak to her. She's got a stunning moonstone on, she changed the moonstone. It is a stunning green obsidian. Is that the green obsidian? With a carved skull on top of a green obsidian pendant, really large. And then another skull on top of that. But anyway, earlier she had a moonstone on. She changes her jewelry like her clothes. Okay, metamerism, really? So, you know, did they actually have to come up with a word that I did not know or have any idea? And if I didn't have any idea, does it really matter? Okay, you know, let's say this. What if I had an illuminate metameric failure? Yes, there is such a thing. An illuminate metameric, if I could say it, metameric failure? Yeah, so for those of you curious now as to what metamerism actually is, well, you know, in the jewelry and gemstones, we take lighting to the level of different wavelengths of light. I've talked about that. I've talked about how a stone can actually look different here in Georgia than it would up in Maine due to the difference in Kelvin, the way they measure lighting. And if you go in any of your home stores, you'll actually see they actually measure the bulbs, and you can look on the end and you can learn yourself about, now they usually will use cool white, these other terms, but if you actually look up cool white meat and these other whatever retail terms they use for the lighting, what really is important is the temperature as measured by Kelvin that they give it. That gives you a much better idea of it. And if you want to be near what sunlight is, then you're looking at around 6,000 Kelvin is what you want to look for, so you can replicate as much sunlight coloring as you so wish. And there's other things to that, but that is in the gemology world, and the difference between color and fluorescent lighting. And okay, so the gemology world touched on the importance of that, but metamerism is the colorimetry, perceived matching of colors with different non-matching spectral power distribution. Now, I'm telling you what, you say that, and I tell you what, I feel like I need to pull a lever in the Back to the Future car, and, away I go. Because I don't think I need to be that metamerized, if that even is such a word. But I like it. It makes for great discussion. So, I'm glad to see you're wondering if they can be affected by metamerism as well. My best to all, Miss Gabby, from Mr. Brad in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, that is. Hope everyone is doing well. Greetings to the Raven and her Shawn. Wow, man, I'm getting lower on the list. It was that Shawn. Now it's just her Shawn. To the rock, yeah. Next it'll be my Shawn, hers. To the Rock family and to the Gem Shopping staff, another great show. Great camera work and great lighting. Different lighting, different looks. Now that's metamerism, eh? Well, there you go. Boy, he segued right there to that. I was thinking about how lighting changes the appearance of a gem since you featured Andalusite again. I had forgotten one I had gotten one from you that was bigger in size, about a carat if I remember. I've been meaning to take it for a walk to see what it looks like in outdoor versus LED versus incandescent lighting, and you will get a huge difference between all three of those. So do take it for a walk. And I do it all the time. I go from the closet to different lighting. I'm a closet man. And then there are all the different angles of the gemstones to give the different colors. I love it. And also I'm a big fan of diaspora. Me too. And I'm glad you said diaspora and not one of those made-up retail names for it. Trivia, the famous mine is Crabtree Mine. Second place in my book goes to the Raven Mine. Clever man, you're smart. I got a salad bowl from her, and boy, I would love some of that finished spectralite. Yeah, wouldn't you though? I would too. She won't give it up. Nobody matches the goodies that comes out of the Raven Mine. Well, maybe that Shawn mine is also tied for second. A fluorocarbonate is the other answer. You are correct. And to be real life in our property, which is the largest lot, and it backs up to thousands and thousands and thousands of acres, but that's why I get to prospect. But actually in our lot, we both have a mine we talk about, and that's where you have seen us bring up the garnet schist specimens, and she has an outcropping that she claimed as hers, and I have one that I claimed as mine. But, I have the digger, the excavator that I cut right across mine and exposed all these great pieces. And what do I see next? She's out there noodling in my mine, picking out the good ones, bringing it up to the kitchen sink, and then she scrubs them and looks at them. She goes, "Look what I found in my mine." Yeah. There were some nice ones, but we call that claim jumping. Yeah, that's what we call it. I have been picking at the exterior of a Mexican geode to expose fluorescent lime green chalcedony shortwave. I imagine the clicking of a gigger in my mind as I work at it. And of course, gigger is our word for Geiger counter, and which it would definitely click away. being that most of the color in chalcedony does get itself get its color from a small urinal ion, and it's the way it's spelled. It's spelled totally different than any other way. But anyway, it's a uranium oxide ion. I just should say that instead. And they're nodding their head yes. Okay. And forget it. It causes it to glow and fluoresce. Not talking about it again. I'm taking Raven's advice since I made a few fluorescent crumbs and saved them to start a crumb jar. Thanks for the idea. Her idea has started many of you to start the crumb jars, and she has many crumb jars. And actually, I'm thinking about breaking into her crumb jars and selling them because her crumbs have got them looking awful good. I will have to go for a UV laser now too. That sounds like fun. My prayer for you this week is that the YouTube presentations take off. It will make it harder for me to compete for great rocks, but that is okay. I appreciate the support there, Mr. Brad. Be well, he says. Kathy in Michigan says, Dear Shawn, here are my trivia answers. And we don't take off for spelling. You got the carbonate part right. And then you put the Emerald Hollow mine, which actually I'll probably give you credit for. Okay, so I don't want the Emerald Hollow mine getting mad at me because, okay, so my opinion is Crabtree Mine. But thank you for another great show, Miss Kathy in Michigan. Miss Peg in South Carolina. Good morning, Raven, Shawn, and my favorite rock counts. What a great show. I'm so glad that this show is now on YouTube. I always thought you needed a bigger audience. However, I'm sure that they are all smarter than me. So I hope I will still have a chance at the trivia questions. Trivia, rare earth, bastnasite in the carbonate group. Spot on there. Best known emerald mine in the USA in the Spruce Pine District is Crabtree Mine. Bingo again. Gotta go. So busy making the fire pits from old oil drums. As long as it's just oil and not chemical drums there. Or as I know somebody that took one of those big 55-gallon drums, stuffed it full of poison ivy. They thought that they just were going to get rid of it, and they torched poison ivy, and I think that they are still having issues. Do not ever burn poison ivy, by the way. So holidays are right around the corner. Please see the doctors, he tells me. I know I need. Find your joy. Love, Peg. Hi, Professor Raven and the whole rock family. Thank you for the labradorite, Raven. I promise to give it pride of place and a happy home. Yeah, she just asked me about that. She goes, am I going to get paid for that nice labradorite that you have? Congratulations on joining the YouTube family. I was watching a What's Hot in Tucson video there, and an ad for Gem Shopping Network popped up for the first time this weekend. I thought another Gem network branching out to a wider audience. Good for you. Casting a wider net should bring in more customers since the views on that channel are phenomenal, and they cross-advertise so like-minded people know you are there. Gonna cut down on our chances of getting your merch, but hey, that's business. Thanks for the encouragement, and not the sour grapes. Saw that the 920 show was already out there, and the how-to series was there too. And with YouTube, nothing ever goes away, so we can shop your old shows from now on forever and ever and ever and ever. As to the trivia, bastnasite, carbonate, emerald slice, Crabtree Mine in North Carolina. What was that, a North Carolina emerald crystal you were wearing? Great question. No, it was Bahia, Brazil. And Barbara, you haven't been watching us long, but I know Miss Gabby has, and I know she remembers it was a 50-pound, I still have pictures of it, emerald crystal specimen, and huge, monstrous emerald crystals going across it. And I was actually quite surprised Miss Gabby didn't add it to her collection, because I ended up selling it at a really, really good price. But believe it or not, that was a crumb from that specimen. No, it truly fell off on its own. I didn't take a chisel and knock it out. But from a specimen that big with at least about 50% of the weight being emeralds, and I'm not talking about regular Bahia emeralds. These emeralds were like the quality you saw in that necklace. Those were the kind of crumbs coming out of it. Stunning specimen, stunning specimen. Won't get another one like that, especially for that kind of price. Let's see. As to the trivia, you got that. Yep. Got hit with a new to me term for how gemstone color can look different in different lighting. Metamerism. Really? I'm with you, Miss Barbara. Metamerism. Who brought that up first here? Brad, was it you? Miss Gabby, was it you? Well, we're going to bring it up. We discussed it, and now we're going to forget about it because that is somebody that has a lighting company selling lighting that, no one in our industry needs to know anything more than what we already do know about playchroism, about the difference in lighting and the effect of chromophores on color, etc., etc. Metamerism. Funny. And I'm glad to see, as smart as you are, Miss Barbara, that you hadn't heard of it either. I've been taught to evaluate stones in both incandescent and fluorescent light, but I've found that the addition of LED has complicated and expanded that process. Yes, and I cannot stand the addition of LED flashlights. I go and I look for the little tiny bulbs that it used to be in the mag lights. And where's my red flashlight? Here. And the old style bulbs that used to be, and you could put them in there, and that had the yellow wavelength of light. I have to hunt them down. They exist out there. But other than that, the LED lighting totally messes up color in stones for any kind of continuity. Let's see. For example, I have a Xandrite, which is a trademark synthetic color change diopside lookalike. Let me just say that, which is doped glass that mimics Alexandrite. Okay, Alexandrite. Its trick, that's how little I want to even know about it. Its trick is apple green changing to raspberry peak, but in one of my LEDs, I get a third color, light yellow. Guess the industry is going to have to come up with a newly expanded color evaluation protocol to encompass the newer lighting. Yeah, just forget synthetic stuff. UV around the house. Try, turmeric. I see everybody's been playing with their UV lights, ultraviolet lights. Quinine water too. Oh, and don't flash your UV on the backsplash of your stove. You will find a historical record of every meal you ever prepared. LOL. Very CSI. That's funny. Raven loves CSI and that kind of thing. So yeah. Growing crystals, looking forward to that. Oh, me too. Woman's Day magazine from November 1955 had an article called How to Grow a Crystal Garden by Saunders of the American Museum of Natural History. On an unglazed brick, pour a mixture of 4 tablespoons non-iodized salt, 4 tablespoons liquid bluing, 4 tablespoons water, and a tablespoon household ammonia, then add drops of food color for color. Makes fragile cauliflower forms. Can't get liquid bluing around New York City anymore. No. So I started my fascination with crystals early on, and we'll have to continue with a more modern formula from you. Yep, I have modern formulas that you can get easy and make some cool stuff with. Keep watching. Enough from me. Be safe out there. Miss Ursula says, Shawn, hello. And like the old saying goes, when the cat's away, the mice will play. Well, I decided to go camping in order to take advantage of the first fall-like days. You seized the opportunity to become part of the fabulous YouTube creators. If the competition was not stiff enough for us down-home rockhounds, it will become pretty rocky going forward. The Crabtree Mine is one of the best-known emerald mines in the States and is located in the Spruce Pine District of North Carolina. C will be the answer to your multiple-choice question. That is correct for the carbonate, since the rare earth mineral bastosite is a carbonate mineral, and you gave much of the specifics while discussing the crystal coming from Pakistan. Please tell us what type of crumb ended up on your magnetized tweezers while you were featuring the pretty conocalcite specimen from the Gold Hill mine in Utah. And no, it was not the infamous lintite. No. Compliments to Miss Raven for giving us another peek at one of her fabulous pendants. The fire coming off that spectrolite was incredible as you were turning it between your fingers. And terrific camera work by Mr. Dave as well. Wow. Congratulations and best wishes to you while you begin sharing your vast knowledge with all the people out there in YouTube land. Sincerely, Miss Ursula. Hi again, Barbara. Just stumbled across 2 clean geology jokes. Uh-oh. Well, we probably have to skip the first one. That used to be, well, they say it on TV now, but I can't. I'm old-fashioned. But I'll say the second one. What did a continental shelf say when it ran into another? My fault. That's funny. To an old rock hound. Got some new UV items around the house. The Monster Energy drink. Oh my goodness. The high vitamin B2 riboflavin constantly glows yellow. Oh, that's scary. Anything with lots of B2 will glow, but remember to remove the outer coating from your vitamin tablets. Liquid laundry soap that features whiteners, blue white, honey is solid brown, Mountain Dew plastic bottles. You know what? Maybe you were one of those that didn't need a UV light. Or a little time on your hands there, Miss Barbara. Olive oil is red. Put it on a saucer and be amazed. Evo is best since it has lots of floating particles of chlorophyll. In addition, I went out in the yard at night and about half the leaves glow red. Awesome under my way too cool convoy light. Have fun with science, Miss Barbara from Brooklyn. That's you guys are a riot. You guys are absolutely a riot. Okay, that all said, I think we have a winner. And this week, I cannot even read my own writing. Oh, I got it. Congratulations, Miss Peggy in South Carolina. Peg in South Carolina, you are this week's winner. Let's show you what you have won. And I think it's pretty cool because these, and even with all the lights glowing, look at this. These are old, super old stock of cat's eye. Yeah, cat's eye tourmaline. Cat's eye tourmaline. And these are at least 50 years old. And let me tell you the origin of them. They're Brazilian. Look at this one. This one, almost acroite. I mean, it's quite nice. They're large, and they're a lot of fun. All right, let me tuck these away. We'll be right back to start the show. Well, let's start off with something rare right out of the gate, as so many of you are familiar with, and those of you that aren't will be. Keep watching this show every week. Tune in. You're going to not only learn something, but you're going to be able to get to buy items that you learned from. These pieces, of course, me being a master goldsmith and also master lapidary, I can tell you everything about them, from the crystallography and chemical end of them to the possibilities of what you can do with them by way of jewelry. Of course, this is a stunning epidote crystal. An epidote rarely comes in this clear white color tone. Most of the time it is found as an inclusion in quartz in a greenish color, or in, and I've sold them by the flat, these incredible clusters of green crystals that are together. What you don't often see is this. Now, if you notice, I actually have bicolor in here. This is extremely unique because you actually have a bicolor look to it, but it has a third color of green. If you look at that green in that direction, here we go. Maybe it is some metamerism going on there, but we in old-fashioned gemology would just call it dichroic, or changing color with the direction of the crystal. Look at that beautiful green. In epidote, wow, if you had a stone cut from that green, that'd be quite an attractive green. Oftentimes you see that green more often. That is a little area of facet grade right in that particular crystal. But look in my hand just how large this crystal is. What a pendant that would make. And remember, I will drill for free most of the items that you see if they are drillable at all. Price on this guy, it is an absolute opportunity at a rare item at a only $88. $88. And, you know, don't be fooled by ones that are green that may be the same price or less expensive. It is this color and then this color combination that make this the special piece that it is. Now, next, let's look at item 1029221. And I'm just going to show these to you in the gem tubes. And so many of you are familiar with these. You can relate to the size, and you get to see them face up side by side, the color. Now, I'm calling these Madagascar. And our choices for color, since I have spent weeks in Kanchanaburi, Thailand, I know Thai sapphires well. They're not Thai sapphires. I know Australian. I've spent weeks in all areas of Australia. They're not Australian sapphires. I had those, sold those, love Australian sapphires in the party colors. The only other colors options you have would be Ceylon. These have a silky look to them. I'm not so sure about Ceylon. They look to be truthful, more like a Burma to a cashmere color. But since we don't know for certain, we're going to call them what they, in the worst case scenario, Madagascar sapphire. And they are some fantastic cuts. There's some bright, bright stones in there. And they all pretty well match at 3.8 millimeters, making a carat 48 total weight. So between 5 stones, think about that. These average just at 30 points. So that's a really nice size, a lot you can work with, and you can easily see that there's matched pairs there. We won't take them out. It'll just take too much time from us, but they do want to roll, don't they? So we'll keep them right there for the moment. There we go. All right, right there. Price on these guys, taking an opportunity. I'm not going to have another parcel if these get gone. How about this? Only 30, does that look like $7 in my writing? Anyway, it sounds like if they were, I have 25 a carat written there. Sure, $37. And wow. Then divide by 5. When you figure that out, you're looking at, of course, a price of $7.50 or so each. Wow. Anthony and I both know how long it takes to cut a stone. And again, certainly couldn't cut it for anywhere near that amount. Now, I'm going to slip in, as you'll often see during this show, for those of you that haven't watched before, I do little mini educational segments, and I just kind of slide them in between when I have time. I don't really have time in this show because it's already running short, but I think the purpose is great enough for me to take this moment to show you. I have an educational segment on what to look for in. This isn't for sale. This is a stone, an emerald. And a lot of people would see this emerald, would think, okay, yeah, I'll buy that emerald and spend X number of dollars. This is technically beryl, but as far as the emerald part of it goes, that would be left to be determined as to what it was originally. When you see striations of a color, and when you look close into these tubes, you can actually see the color dye that has been forced into these tubes, and also these other inclusions going across there. Anytime inclusions come to the surface, and then an item can be dyed with coloring that is forced into those openings. And then often those openings can be closed with a polymer, but what you're left with is the bigger inclusions, leaving the marks of that dye that has been forced deeper and at an amount that stands out. So what you're looking at right there is, if you look at those colors, and if you see, if I tilt that, they're not so obvious at certain angles, but others they are. But if you look, you'll notice that the inclusion will break the surface, come to the surface, and that is how they get the dye in there. And under additional magnification, you'll be able to see a lot of other pathways into dyeing that emerald. So you see telltale marks like that, that is, wow, see, that really stands out. And look at it at different angles, and there you go. That is, in a few minutes, a quick way. If you were to make judgment, that would be one to leave alone, and it didn't matter the price at all. Don't make an offer on a bidding. Don't just shy away from it altogether. Okay, let's look at item 1028721. 1028721. Now, this guy, absolutely the real deal, genuine thing. We talk about tourmaline and terminated quartz, and we just were mentioning epidote. You can find epidote that looks often like this, and it'll just be olive green inclusions, and sometimes you can find the two together. This happens to be black tourmaline crystals known as shoral, Oftentimes you can look closely and maybe find rutile mixed in with it as well. We're just calling this all tourmalinated quartz. And I looked, this stone actually came, I should have actually kept the original back, from a offering opportunity I had. It was over 12 years ago. 12 years ago, and I guess it was a leftover stone that didn't sell from back then. And I am offering it right now at the same price as I did 12 years ago. $24 on that. Only $24 on that. So that's just over $1 a carat. And that makes always an attractive stone. No matter even if you just put it in a stand for display or if you created a piece of jewelry from it. You're going to find that this show, we have items in every price range. And then, of course, at Gem Shopping, when you go there, then you can see jewelry up to 6 figures or more even. And then get to see another side of it, but you won't get to see the crystal side of it. This is where the rock hounds hang out. Item number 1029621. 1029621. Let me show you the things you get to see. Look at this, a sphene crystal cluster. And wow, yeah, I didn't even turn it to the amazing side. Yep, here we go. Did I read it wrong? 1029621?
No, that's correct.
Okay, there's the info. Now, in this specimen, as I set this just to the side and we get to look at it, okay, this is stunning because it is in a bigger than a thumbnail, but there is multiple crystals. And okay, and then the neat thing is, look at this, clinochlor. Now, clinochlor is a name that falls really underneath the chlorite group. The chlorite is a broad group of different, slightly different chemically altered minerals, and clinochlor being one of them. Look at that gorgeous iris in there. And in this particular deposit of sphene in Pakistan, a lot of the sphene crystals have so much of the clinochlor embedded in them that it's almost a pseudomorph. It's almost replaced them, or it's on the surface of the crystal. This is what you find in this case. You can see all the clinochlor on the surface of the sphenes. And it, to me, doesn't really take anything away because it has a blend of, look at that, just a blend of the clinochlor and of the sphene together. Also, look for the calcite crystals. Look at these calcite crystals. And this deposit has also been known to have a lot of other additional minerals as well associated with them. Now, this is a great opportunity on to get in on a showy specimen that would be hard to find otherwise. I happened to buy a collection of these a number of years ago, straight from the miner, and have hung on to a lot of them, but I've been moving some along the way, and this is one more. Price on this, only $48. Only $48 on that guy. And very showy piece, and would look great with any sphene collection. Not many people, well, you know, if you've got a faceted sphene or a faceted sphene ring, that's all great and cool, but how neat it would be to have a specimen at a very reasonable price to be able to show people from whence it came, or just to put into your collection cabinet, because a lot of people, that is one mineral they won't have. Look at that. Aquamarine and emerald. You could call that a barrel collection, and a barrel of fun indeed. This aquamarine is Brazilian aqua. And you can really almost tell if you've seen enough between the Orongo or the Gilgit and then Brazilian. This actual crystal is facet grade. It actually is a very clean piece, and it's natural color. As someone that has heat treated thousands and tens of thousands of carats of beryl and aquamarine, I have a lot of experience with it. And anyway, this crystal is a beautiful natural crystal. Now, of course, we couldn't feature a emerald crystal quite that clear, but let me show you how pretty this one actually is. Look at the color in this. And this would make an amazing pendant in a wire wrap piece, or polish into a cabochon, or leave it alone. Or if you wanted to run it through your tumbler on a really high grade fine grit, and then the polisher, you could end up with a really nice polished emerald specimen. Now, since someone asked me about that emerald crystal I wore the other week, this crystal came from basically the same deposit, the Bahia Emerald deposits. It wasn't a crumb off that big specimen, but it was a piece I saved from some nicer, larger ones I got. All right, so we have, they're approximately 3/4 inches long, 23.57 carats total there. And how about this? For both of them, we're looking at only $44. Only $44 for the two. Now, item number 1027921, 1027921. Since we are talking about aqua, let me show you a little bit bigger of a crystal and natural color nonetheless. Madagascan. And, there's actually been, a lot of people aren't that familiar with the Madagascan gem quality aquamarines, and there are. They're not as heard of from for sources as other places, but there are. And of course, they're much finer than this. But this makes a neat crystal anyway. You can see the perfect 6 sides with a little bit of muscovite mica down there. And what is interesting about a specimen like this is if you wanted to and had a saw, then you could clean this up. First though, not this end. Look at this. I want to show you this secondary skeletal growth. So I may take back everything I said. You see this secondary growth? This is a repair growth that started to grow on top of a end that had been sheared off. So barrels will often do that. You'll hear about healed fissures or fractures, just like as in corundum. Now, this end then, if you wanted to, you could take a saw. But if you actually made really thin slices of this, they look really pretty. And if you drilled each one, and you could actually then, for very little money, slice this up and do a spray varnish on them to give them a shine, and then easy diamond drill bit, and create a something to hang in your window, and something beautiful to be able to see natural crystals, and then add to them, and it'd be like an indoor wind chime, so to speak, kind of look. I don't know. I always just kind of think out of the box and for ideas. 1026421. Oh yeah, thank you. Price on that might help. Oh, $18. That's why I said it's affordable to do it. $18. You can't go wrong. Next item is item 1026421. And this is a rarity, and one of those items that there's only going to be so many I am going to be able to sell and turn loose from that batch of Pakistani red zircons. And this is one you have not seen before out of the collection that I have. Wonderful biotite mica. You can see additional zircon crystals sprinkled around this piece. And this, even just as it is, could make a outstanding wire wrap pendant, or just be drilled at the top and create a pendant just as it is. There's a lot of beauty in something as simple as a zircon crystal with biotite in its natural state, just like that. Price on that guy is only $48. Only $48. And oh, this next one is a tough one for me to be parting with from the collection. I think you'll find you like it as well. 102-8521. 102-8521. This is from a mine that, if you're not familiar with it, you need to be. Look at this. This is a Jeffrey Mine Vesuvianite. A Jeffrey Mine Vesuvianite. It is a stunning display of crystals. And while I hold this here, you're going to be able to get to see just the formation of how larger Vesuvianites, which you don't often see the crystals, at least that are affordable, from the Jeffrey mine. A lot of times you get these little druzy crystal specimens, and this one is not. This one has some outstanding larger terminated crystals with it. Has a beautiful color, and as we give you a tour around it, you can see there's crystallization all the way around. Now, there's also something, let me get to that as we show you. The Jeffrey mine has been known to have 112 different minerals in that deposit. It ended up to be an open quarry mine over 2 kilometers across. It looks like a diamond mine. And it was originally, mining started in 1879 and did not end until 2001. But mining is over. It is closed. And the neat thing about the Vesuvianites are some are amazing lilac color that have come out of the mine. And those are beautiful. There is actually a little section of this right here that you can see some of that purplish lilac color tone to it. And then a little bit more on the back. But this has, under different magnifications, when you look into the little pockets, outstanding crystal growth. All right, opportunity pricing on this one. Yeah, look down in there. That's amazing. All right, on this guy, it is a really bright, lively specimen, and offering it to anybody for only, ready, set, wow, $58. Only $58 on that one. Remember, mine's closed. No more available. So take advantage of it. All right, let me tuck that one away securely, and I'll be right back. 2 amazing stones, one faceted, one cabochon. Now, one has a unique property about it that makes it world famous, a color change. The other has something optically about it that also sets it apart, and that is a star. Now, let me show you the difference. What you're looking at is how these look in incandescent lighting. That would be what used to be able to find the yellow light bulb, so to speak. Now, What you're looking at next is what they would look like under sunlight. Look at the color change to the sapphire going to a forest green. And then, of course, you have on the Alexandrite going to its famous blue-green. If it goes to that blue-green color tone, then to that pinkish purple-red, you know you have an Alexandrite from a very, very desirable location. Look at that. And that location would be, yep, Brazilian. Brazilian. Not the Orissa material. All right, look at that. Back and forth. Wow, that's the color change you want to see. All right, let's show you that Alexandrite. Now, we'll set the sapphire off to the side for the moment, focus on this Alexandrite, and at 32 points in the world of Alexandrites, that's large. The price isn't though. This is old stock material. You've wanted me to showcase Alexandrites before. I have it. I have set these aside, but I realize now I'm just not going to have the time to, well, I've enjoyed them in my collection, but I really wanted to put them into a custom piece of jewelry. Well, instead, I'm going to let and share these with the rest of you, especially the price. This is old pricing. Price on the Alexandrite, only $158. That's less than $500 a carat. And I'm talking about a stone that is Brazilian. Let me show it to you in my hand just so you can get a feel for it, so to speak. And wow, what a beautiful stone. The clarity makes it especially desirable. They get really hard to find when, as the clarity, as they get cleaner, yeah, the price goes up, rarity goes up. All right, now let's look at the sapphire. The sapphire, this is a rare Australian stone. It has a yellow color tone. Look at that. That is rare enough. When have you seen a yellow star sapphire? Has a yellowish greenish color tone, then has the color change on top of it. Beautiful stone here. Item 102. You got that? Okay, great. Price on this guy, you're really going to love it. Only $33. Only $33 on this one. And wow, what a great addition to anyone's collection those two stones would add. Now, I have one more special treat for you in the Alexandrite world, and this is a different opportunity altogether. It's 1028421, and let me show them to you. Look at this. I am including an actual piece of the Brazilian rough, and if you know rough, that can verify origin right there by looking at the rough in itself. The rough has a stunning color change, as does that incredible Alexandrite. Look at the color tone, and it will go a green, incredible green. Really strong color change at both ends. Now, you give up a little bit of the clarity. This is the way you find most of the Alexandrites will be a little bit of a haze to them. And the trade-off, though, is the strength of the color change. You get a piece of rough. They both actually weigh the same amount. That's kind of neat. I'm going to save time. I'm not going to take them out. You saw the color change of the other one. Trust me, this one, it's even stronger on the green end. Price for both of them, $77. Only $77 for both pieces. Now, let me show you another rarity. It's item 1028021, and we talked about this earlier. This is that amazing piece of Ametrine. There we go. Look at that. All right. So Anthony had some questions about Ametrine. And this will help explain it when you actually get to see an actual crystal form. All right, so the hexagonal on the outside. Now, these will form in a perfect world if nature was as such. Equally dimensioned pie shapes, 6 of them, 3 of them yellow, 3 of them purple. It's a kind of technical reason of how that happens. That's to be covered later. But as far as how they cut the stones is they will cut them from an area that creates a straight line across the middle. That's how the most desirable cut that they will do. It's even hard to find slices like this. Now, the neat thing about this slice is it actually has the 3rd color that many people don't realize. A lot of people have seen not ametrines, but citrines and clear quartz, or amethyst and clear quartz. This has a pie shape of clear quartz within the yellow citrine. And here's the other neat thing, like I said about the citrine and ametrine, it's a natural color citrine. So much of the citrine otherwise in the market is not. This piece I've actually am offering, look at that. You can really see the colors and the color differences in this. What an excellent specimen this would make anybody. And only had a few of these that I was able to cut from a piece of rough that I had, and I was just seeing if this sits up on its own in any way. But either way, I'm going to make it part of someone's collection. If you want to take advantage of this one right now, how about this? Only $68. Only $68 on that. And that's an excellent opportunity to add something to your collection that not many people will have. Now, let me show you item 1029321. This is one more opportunity at not too many that I have left, but a sphene specimen. And look at this one. This just stands out. One single sphene crystal like that. Beautiful formation. And then around it, sparkling calcites. Look at that. What a great, great piece in the matrix like that. You have other minerals as well in this to be left to be explored. But let me tell you, this is when you want to get out your other tools, such as ultraviolet lights, that can give you all kinds of an additional depth to the specimen. And in this particular one, you wouldn't believe it. Someone like Brad, shortwave fluorescent light, it has a stunning red fluorescence. The calcites, I guess, or maybe it's the face of feldspar, left to be explored for whoever gets it. But it has a beautiful red fluorescence, not to the sphene, but to the other crystals involved with it. So yeah, price on it, only $44 on that. Only $44 on that. Now, let me show you something real quick in a tray. As I dump these out. This is item number 936620. 936620. And wow, this is something else you're not going to see much of. I'm just going to give you a quick glimpse into triplite. And this is some stunning triplite that at first it doesn't always necessarily look too impressive. Triplite doesn't form crystal specimens, like in matrix, and they're never well formed. It's much more of a granular, massive type of crystalline formation. But I was thinking about tumbling this batch or a portion of it, because when you get to looking at this material, look at it. And then when you go to backlighting it, you really get to see, look at the colors in this. And that's just a random piece. I'll pick up another random piece. There is a lot of crystallization that is there. It's just not noticed until you look at that, until you do something lapidary-wise with it. And every single piece of this, look at that. That's triplite. Triplite was, again, in one of the top 10 of the rarest gemstones. And wow, look at how large of these sections are of material that you can work with. Thank you, sir. So here is a batch of entire bag. You have, let me get the right item number, 963620. And you have 1,250 carats of, I called it tumbling rough, but that is certainly cuttable. It's rare. One small pocket found in 2015 of this material. I have discounted it now. Believe it or not, if you want in on this parcel, I am making it lowest. I'm going to go $54 on that. $54 on all that triplite. Take advantage of it now. All right. Now, what I've got to bring up next will take just a moment. We'll be right back. Now, this is not your normal amethyst that you're going to see. This is why we've had it for a decade and have had it in aquariums. It is one of the most unusual shaped pieces, and it's a difficult one to give up. Let me just show you. All right, so you got to see that. As David said, it's an L. Look at this. Look at this. So it is polished on both sides. So you see this, it has been polished on that side. Look at that. Tell me there's not so many decorative things and it's polished on this side. You can see the nice agate edge to it. Let me show you the exterior. There's the exterior of it. Look at that beautiful banded agate edge to it. And there is little goethite crystals in the amethyst. There is treasures always to behold in amethyst. Oh, there's phantoms. You can see different phantoms around here. You see the darker areas? Yeah, look at this. Look at these. I'll leave you to discovering all that for yourself later. This is a very unique shape that by the shape of it alone lends itself to those of you that are really creative for decorating a most unusual, I don't know, kind of, I'm thinking different things to come up with. And there's all kinds of things running through my mind, but I'll leave that to the rest of you. Now, you see that part, and then we can put it like this and lay it down like this. And you can see some really gemmy amethyst. Price on this entire piece, polished on both sides, which is rare. Look at the size of this. With phantoms and the works. Only $244. Only $244. Now, we only have minutes. This is a shorter than normal show. So in the future, our shows will be longer. I just had some technical issues that I had to get resolved, all on me. I take the blame, so I apologize. Next week, we have even more to bring you, because we didn't even get to show you everything we had set aside for this week. But let me show you item 1027821. 1027821. 7821, verifying that number. Yes, here we go. Look at this. Look at this. This is a mined by Shawn, made by Shawn, and you find somebody else that will slice a piece of ruby in smaragdite from Chunky Gal, North Carolina, 1 millimeter thin. And it holds together. Smaragdite, meaning it's a Greek word, smaragdos. For emerald green, look at this. Now, smaragdite is a type of actinolite, but as you can see, look at the clarity. Look at my hand behind here. You can see that it is not all smaragdite. Now, the rubies in this, yes, those are rubies, are everywhere. And just how I found them all, a fluorescent light. And then down here, this little row, as you look closer, look at all the rubies, and they just go right across there, and even small ones that you don't see. Up here, you have larger ones, but here you have this nice cluster of them together. I will drill this for no additional charge. If you want it drilled to just hang from a window, look at this band right here as we come in right through here. Look at this. Every single one of those little rubies glows like no tomorrow in an ultraviolet light. And then let me just do this, and you can see, whoops, even too much. There you go. There's another way you can see the rubies in this piece just from lighting it from behind. It is, look at that. It is stunning. Thank you, sir. Wow. All right, that thin. And I just did one of those spray polishes on it. You can spray it some more if you would like. You can get any kind of stand, something much nicer than that if you want, just to put it in a stand. It is a very, very showy piece. And opportunity on the price, well, it's going to be a deal. Consider this, that I had to mine it, which is in the description. And that's when I mined it that same year I hit those other really nice, that find that, if you haven't heard the story, I'll tell it in the future with time of, how I looked into them cutting right across the, cat eye cut up there at the deposit. But that was in 09. I was right place, right time, only one there. Price on this guy, why not? That's a lot of look for the money, but I'm not going to charge for what I should. Make it only $58. Make it only $58. Mined and made by Shawn. All right, with the moments that we have left with you, let me show you, since I had referenced it, one of the most stunning specimens that I have come across. 1028. 221. Let me verify that number, because this is something, again, from a mine that has long been closed. 1028221. Check this out. I mentioned the Jones mine earlier. The Jones mine is a mine south of Asheville and southeast of Hendersonville. Look at the size and the quality of these microcline crystals of feldspar. Look at those. You often don't see well-defined crystals of microcline like this. And it is from a mine, and they call them extinct. Mine, instead of a closed mine, they actually use the word extinct. So this is from an extinct mine. I heard it was closed in the 60s. It produced zircon and many other different minerals. And this unusual piece right here, you don't want to clean off. That is actually something called, what it is, it's a pseudomorph after titanite, believe it or not. That's kind of crazy. A pseudomorph after titanite. And what it turns into is kind of like a xanthitane. It's more of it's very friable, kind of soft material. But you can see the really kind of the crude remnant of a titanite crystal with the pinnacle and the wedge shape to it. Now, this, what is super amazing, and people that love fluorescence like Brad would really appreciate this piece. What is stunning is the strong red fluorescence, not only under long wave, but under short wave as well. Long or short wave. Now, short wave, it is even a stronger red. And that is just not something I see very often in the feldspars. This is a remarkable specimen. There's nothing but all this is smaller, just smaller versions of feldspar crystals. And look down in that pocket. You look close enough, no telling what else you could find in these specimens. Look at that. No more are they available on the market. Price on this is a cabinet quality for what it is. It is a world-class specimen. And it's only $128. Only $128. Now, the thing about xanthitane is it is one of the 5 polymorphs of rutile, which other ones being brookite, anatase, acoite, however you want to pronounce that, acoogite. And a lot of people don't know that one as the 5th one. But you have xanthitane, brookite, rutile, anatase, and acoogite. Those are your 5 polymorphs. Don't worry, that one won't be on the test. But they replace the sphene in the one place in the back. This is a world-class specimen for the variety that it is. Only $128 on that. And we're just going to bring in one last specimen here, because what would the show be without a zeolite? We've had a zeolite in every show. Got to have a zeolite. This one sits very nicely on its own. This is item number 1028721. That's let me verify that. It may not be. Yeah, this is different than that. This is 1028821. Only off by one number. Yeah, it was a hard late night working for everybody out there, and even my eyes got really bad. Anyway, this is a stunning apophyllite and gyrolite. Look at the gyrolites. The gyrolites, how many specimens have I had that have had gyrolite? Not too many. These are large gyrolites. And then the mirror apophyllites. Of course, you know apophyllite by now, but the mirror one, those are extra unusual and rare and command a premium. And you can see the mirror, why they call them mirror apophyllites, as they reflect back like that. I love these because you can always inspect the zeolites for other different minerals. And in doing so, look what I found on the back. As you can see, what do we have? Look at this little druzy celadonite. You know, celadon for the color of sea green. We have celadonite on the back. And then I found one more little spot right there. That could be Gennardite. So you wind up with really a lot of other interesting minerals in the zeolite family. No telling what you can find. It is sawn across the bottom, so it makes it display very nicely no matter where you put it. Price on this guy is only $77. Very showy with the beautiful, beautiful mirror apophyllites and the gyrolites. All right, we're going to be back next week with another show for you and a longer show for you. But for now, we'll be right back with a couple of trivia questions for you. So get your pen and paper ready, or hopefully you've taken notes. All right. I hope all of you enjoyed it as much as I did, except we just didn't get to enjoy it as long as we normally do. And I apologize for that. And for a little bit of the, maybe not as smooth as a flow as I normally have. But again, I don't know if I told you the rest of the story. It would be a long story for the week. My computer crashed right at the wrong moment. It's being reformulated, and then they mixed a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And I tell you what, in the end, my printer ended up not working. It was one of those weeks. And then, I don't know how, poor Asif had to keep up with all the wrong numbers that I had written down on these labels that now I don't have labels for. I have to turn them into Kevin, so apologies, my fault. And we'll do better on that next time. But nevertheless, you got to see some really neat, unusual items, but there's cool stuff behind me, if you notice, that we didn't even get to show you, and there's more beyond that. So now, I have 2 questions of the trivia for you, and let's see how everyone does. Now, remember, it's really easy. So you can just go to Shawn at gemshopping.com, or you can also go to the Gem Shopping site, and that's where you actually want to go because you want to watch the how it's done videos. You want to find out more information, and that's also where you can leave comments as well. And so can't miss me. Gemshopping.com, and I'm right there on the home page, and then link to all the other cool stuff you want to see. All right, now questions are this. What mineral family does Alexandrite belong to? All right, just like we know ruby and sapphire are corundum, so who knows? It could be corundum, right? I'm not trying not to give anything away. There is, that's what I mean, that association. So Alexandrite belongs to another mineral family as well. What is that mineral family? Question number 2. Now, this one is truly one of how well did you hear? Or did it make a difference to you? Or were you paying attention at all? Because I thought it was an amazing fact from the Jeffrey mine. Now, the Jeffrey mine is one of those amazing mines, and I meant to show you, I just didn't have time, a picture of it. It's an open pit mine. It looks like a diamond mine. You know how they go down in a circle down to the bottom? Yeah. It became so large in its production of asbestos that they had to move the town. They kept expanding out the outer edge of it because asbestos, until they discovered how bad it was as far as a carcinogen, was a very viable product. And that is what the Jeffrey mine was all about originally. But when they started realizing that the potential for so many other minerals and gems and specimens that were found there, it was a crazy, ridiculous deposit. I mentioned how many other minerals total have been documented to have been found in the Jeffrey mine in Quebec. And if I've never didn't say that, it's in Quebec, Canada. How many minerals have been documented to have been found at the Jeffrey mine? That's the question. Hopefully you were just paying attention and didn't go just right by you, because I think the number is quite impressive. It's one worth remembering, because I only showed you one, and I'm not even going to tell you which one that one was. All right, so I hope everybody really comes back every week and enjoys the items that I'm featuring. I have a plethora of others that you're going to get to see as time moves forward. So don't miss a single episode, new episode every week, trivia every week, and it's easy to win. A lot of people have won many times. Take advantage of it. It'll also help you just remember and just become part of the rock family group, that Rockhound group here that we have become. So I look forward to seeing all of you again in next week's episode. Don't miss a single one of them. Also, do start watching the How It's Done or the How To series. You will become enthralled from the very first one. One of them has almost 200,000 views. If that gives you any idea of just how important the information is, that it would be searched for that many times. That should get you interested right there. And then watch them all through, and you should get, like I said, some type of certificate, because you will know more than 95% of the clerks working behind the counter at these mall jewelry stores and many other custom stores as well. God bless. Take care. See you next week.